better.
Enormous instantaneous.
So that was the reason for the question. We had the privilege of hosting your president.
Your Excellency, I was going to say, you were sort of ahead when you brought that message before the war. And
Yes.
the war, as you said, has made it more
helped.
obvious.
Yes.
The only point that I would mention is that natural gas, we never thought in our lifetime would be like $8, $9, $10, It was kind of stuck at 2, 3, 4.
Absolutely.
And given where it is, and given specifically Nigeria's economy and its importance in natural gas, but also the availability of the other renewable fuels, it's not a bad export fuel for revenues while you're building out what you said, everything you said about renewables. So it puts Nigeria in a very good place. Together with your next generation, as you talked about, and your young people who are starting this entrepreneurial activities in Nigeria. But I wanted to take the, on behalf of the CGD board and Masood Ahmed, our leader here, and everybody on the team here, to thank you especially for what you're doing in Nigeria, for what you're doing for the continent, for your leadership, and to thank you for being with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Jude Moore, or Jide Moore, for a more Nigerian way of calling that name, and all of the members of the Institute who are here, and of course friends and colleagues here also. I think the central thinking for most developing countries is that we are confronted on this issue of a just transition, is that we're really confronted with two, not one existential crisis. The climate crisis, of course, is the central issue, but also extreme poverty. So for us, it's not just the climate crisis, there's also the crisis of extreme poverty in the developing world. The clear implication of this is that our plans and commitments to carbon neutrality must include clear plans on energy access if we are to confront poverty. This includes access to energy for consumption and productive use, spanning across electricity, heating, cooking, and other end-use sectors. But both the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic and the conflict in Ukraine have had severely damaging effects on decades' worth of gains made in the energy sector in developing countries, particularly in the most vulnerable countries and those already lagging in energy access. Nearly 90 million people in Asia and Africa who have previously gained access to electricity can no longer afford to pay for their basic energy needs. The inflationary pressures caused by the COVID-19 pandemic and its after effects and other macroeconomic trends have been further exacerbated by the ongoing war in Ukraine. Countries worldwide have been hit by record high prices on all forms of energy. Power prices are breaking records across the globe, especially in countries or markets where natural gas plays a key role in the energy mix. So as the supply of gas from existing sources becomes restricted, developing countries using gas are forced to compete with European countries who are scrambling to replace Russian energy with supply from other partners, and of course, this is driving up prices. This dynamic itself is compounded by the food and financial crisis also experienced by many countries as a result, again, of the war in Ukraine. But a subtext of the unfolding drama is the double standards evident in the response to the current energy crisis by many countries in the global north. Today, as I'm sure many of us know, excluding South Africa, the remaining 1 billion people in sub-Saharan Africa are serviced by an installed capacity of just 81 gigawatts of power. Sub-Saharan Africa has contributed, again, information that's already out there, has contributed less than 1% of cumulative CO2 emissions. By comparison, the United States has an installed capacity of 1,200 gigawatts of power to a population of 331 million people, while the United Kingdom, for example, has 76 gigawatts of installed capacity for its 67 million people. The per capita energy capacity in the UK is almost 15 times that in sub-Saharan Africa. But many of these countries had barely a year ago received from the US, especially in our fight against terrorism within our borders and in the Sahel. And of course, a very timely donation of vaccines, 4 million vaccines, as we battled Kamala Harris for receiving me here at the White House. And my visit is an opportunity to reaffirm the close ties that exist between our countries. The United States has been a long-standing partner and friend of Nigeria, and even as long ago as independence, the United States has been a very firm supporter of all of our aspirations, especially our economic and social development ambitions. The United States has always been with us. We also must appreciate the firm support that we've received from the US, especially in our fight against terrorism within our borders and in the Sahel. and of course the very timely donation of vaccines, 4 million vaccines, as we battled the COVID-19 pandemic, and that of course is extremely useful. But in addition to, as we pointed out, our shared commitment to democracy and the international rules-based system, we very strongly believe that, in the coming years we will need to work together again on so many global challenges, and they are as varied and and they come up very frequently now, from promoting peace and security to tackling global health issues and climate change, and of course economic adversity. I must also congratulate you, of course, on the Inflation Reduction Act. And I think in particular it's historic, especially for those of us who are paying attention to all the issues on climate change. The climate change component is really ambitious, and we think that it shows U.S. leadership in the area of climate change, and we're all excited to queue up behind the U.S. and see that we get many of these objectives on the way. On our part, and you pointed this out already, the Nigerian government launched energy transition plan just last week. And this plan is important for us because for us we see energy, especially the climate crisis, as two existential issues. One, of course, the crisis. The second is the energy poverty and the energy crisis for us in our part of the world. So while we look forward to the 2060 carbon neutrality goal, we're also hoping that within that period, even within a shorter period, we're actually looking at 2030, we'll deal with issues of energy poverty. And so we're anxious to get all the support we can. And in the last few days, I've been talking to quite a few of the agencies here, the World Bank, the USAID, in fact, the Treasury Secretary yesterday also. And they've all been very positive, and shown indications that they will be very helpful indeed. So I think that we look forward to, in the coming years and months, to even greater collaboration and stronger ties between our countries to create a fairer, more prosperous, and perhaps a greener also, freer nation and nations and the world. Thank you very much again for hosting me, and this is a great honor indeed. Thank you.